What's up guys, Mighty here, and today I'm bringing you guys my Goat Warrior Beatdown deck profile. This is my take on Goat format, as I do like the powerful spells and traps that's in a card pool, the basic combos you can do, and the cool little tickers that you can find. When you show them up to your opponent and they get shocked by them, you can get a pretty good laugh sometimes. If you guys want to see more deck profiles like this, whether if it's Goat, Edison, or even in a modern format, just leave a like and comment down below. Also hit that subscribe button and join the Gen X army. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to be starting off with the main deck here, and we're going to be starting off with the two Marauding Captains. It has a very simple effect while it's face up on the field. Warrior monsters you control can't be targeted for attacks, and it has another effect when it's normal summon. You can special summon a level 4 lower monster from your hand to field. It just has so many utilities when it comes to stuff like this, whether it's Mystic Swordsman level 2 for the face down destruction, or the Deity Warrior Lady for that banishment spot removal, or the Exile Force spot removal. This card just has so many uses, especially if you want to go on offensive or defensive capabilities. It's just a really good card. And the next two of they're going to be running is going to be the two Mystic Swordsman level 2. Has a simple effect that if it battles a face-down defense position monster, you can just destroy it free without damage calculation, and if it destroys a monster by battle, you bring out a Mystic Swordsman level 4 from a hand or deck to field. I personally am not running Mystic Swordsman level 4 because I do not see that as a worthy card in this deck. Level 2 is just a lot more superior, and anything that's a face-down defense position monster that can and will be problematic, Mystic Swordsman level 2 can be like a really good game changer. Alright, and the next two of they're going to be running in this deck is going to be the two Blindly Loyal Goblin. It just has a simple effect is that as long as this card remains face up on the field, control of this card cannot be switched. So anything like Snatch Steal, Creature Swap, Mind Control, or Thousand Eyes Restrict cannot do nothing against this card. It is immune to those kinds of effects, and guaranteeing you an 1800 fighter is just overall really good. And that is it for our 2-ofs. We're going to go on to the 1-ofs in our deck, which is going to be the 1 Deity Warrior Lady. It's just really good for her, so that way you get that banishment removal, so that way if you want to get rid of your opponent's boss monster, she can do that very well. And the next 1-of that we're going to be running is going to be the 1 Exile Force, where you can just tribute it to target a card on your opponent's side of the field and destroy it. I just like this card. And then with Premature Burial, which we are going to be running in our deck, you can just like tribute itself, pop a card, and then Premature Burial, and then bring him back and pop a card. I just like that effect. Alright, and the next one we're going to be running is going to be the 1 Command Knight. She has a continuous effect that while she's face up on the field, all warrior monsters you control gain 400 attack, and while she's also face up on the field, she cannot be targeted for attacks. It's just really good, so that way if you're already in the advantageous spot with like BLS Envoy at the beginning, which we are running in this deck, and say they have like a Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke and this card's in defense, they're not able to attack this card and get rid of it, so that way it lowers BLS's attack from 34 to 3000, and it just protects her very well. I just really like this card. I only run 1 because you only need that 1 copy. Alright, and the next 1-of that's in our deck is going to be the 1 Grandmaster Sasuke. It has this simple effect where if it attacks a face-up defense position monster, you can just destroy it without damage calculation. It is pretty much like the reverse Swordsman level 2, because while Swordsman deals with face downs, this one deals in face up, so that way if like your opponent has like a Spirit Reaper, you can just get rid of it for free. That way you don't have to worry about getting stuck with Spirit Reaper on their side. Alright, and the next one that we're going to be running is going to be the 1 Gearfried the Iron Knight. It's just a really good 1800 fighter, so that way if they're more banking on their Snatch Steal or anything that will like take control of your stuff by using equip cards or hampering it with equip cards, Gearfried is the one to go, so that way you can have at least something that's 1800 that's like a really good strong beater, so that way no equip cards can be hampered by it. Right, and the next one we're going to be running is the 1 Blade Knight. I just like the effect that he can become like a 2000 fighter if you have 1 or less cards in the field, and has the effect where it negates the effects of flip effect monsters when it kills it by battle. So that way if they're trying to bank on their like any flip effect monsters like Magician of Faith or anything like that, it gets negated. And what's really cool is that if Command Knight's already on the field and you already have one or less cards on the field, this is literally a normal summonable 2400 fighter. I just like that combo. Alright, and the next one up in the Warrior toolbox is going to be the one Mataza the Zapper. It has the effect where it can attack twice during the battle phase, and has the same protection as Blindly Loyal Goblin, where control of this card cannot be switched. I just like this because it can be brought out from Mystic Tomato, so that way if you've gone to your Tomato, you can bring Mataza the Zapper. And the cool thing about it is that if both Blindly Loyal Goblin and Mataza the Zapper is on the field and they try to snatch steal or anything like that, they can't do it either way because both have that protection. Alright, and the next one that we got in our Warrior toolbox is going to be the one Fiend Mega Cyber. It just has a really good simple effect that if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, you could just special summon this card for free. I just really like it because it does not matter if you control monsters or not. It's just as long as your opponent just have 2 more monsters than you do. Bring it out for free, get a guaranteed 2200 fighter. I just like it. And then again with Command Knight on the field, you can literally make it into like a 2600 fighter. That way if you need to get rid of like a Jinzo or something like that, that's the way to go. Alright, and the final warrior in our deck, which is going to be the boss monster for this one, is going to be the one BLS Envoy of the Beginning. I just really like this one because it just OTKs or just get rid of a lot of problematic cards. And we do run enough light and dark monsters in our deck, so that way we can still make it for like, just to show it as an example, we got like Fiend Mega Cyber and the Blade Knight. That way we got our lights and darks, so that way we get that representation. This card can be made with this deck, and I just love this card so much. And that rounds off our warrior monsters on our deck. And to the generic one-ups, we're going to be running the one Great Phantom Thief. It has the effect that if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can declare one card name and then look at your opponent's hand and get rid of any copies of that card name that you declared. So if Tsukuyomi, for example, is giving you a lot of problems, you can bring out Great Phantom Thief by like shooting off Sengen, which is what we are running in our deck. That way you can search off the Sengen, smack for your opponent, and then declare Tsukuyomi and get rid of that Tsukuyomi. Anything that's like Spirit Monster wise or a Surplus or anything like that is really good, and this card really does counter against it. And the next 2 copies that we're going to be running is going to be the 2 Mystic Tomatoes. This is just to like thin out your deck, so every time a Mystic Tomato dies, you bring in a Dark Monster with 1500 attack or less. So that way if you have one tomato, you can get it killed, bring out another tomato, and then after that you're going to be running the Sengen, so that way you get another card. Or if you want to run something like on the offensive, so that way you have more something in your place, you can run the Mataza the Zapper, since it is a dark monster with less than 1500 attack, so that way you can do that. And the next card that we're going to be running is the one Sengen that's available in your card pool deck. It's just a really good monster, so that way if this card leaves the field, search for a monster that's 1500 attack. And then the next few copies we're going to be running is the Sinister Serpent and the Tribe Infecting Virus to round off our monsters. Literally, Sinister Serpent just gives yourself a card advantage during the standby phase every turn, and then with Tribe Infecting Virus, you can just discard a card, declare a type, and get rid of all monsters of that same type. And especially really good with that Sinister Serpent, so that way you have at least a continuously reloading discard fodder every time to get rid of like any problematic monsters that are like a different type of warrior. And that rounds off all of our monster lineup, and on to the spells. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Nobleman Across Out. This is just a really good card, so that way you can get rid of any face down monsters, or any monsters that are like flip effects, so like Magician of Faith, Master of Darkness, or anything problematic. You can just get rid of it and banish it, and if it's a flip effect, you get rid of all their other copies that's in their deck. I just really like this card. Maximize it whenever you can in Go format. It's just a really good card. And the next 2 cards that we're going to be running is going to be the 2 Rhoda. You literally get to add a level 4 warrior monster from your deck to hand. Literally, your deck is nothing, for the most part, nothing but warrior monsters. So this is literally just like a free plus 1. And then we're going to be drawing into the very power spells, Pot of Greed and Grace with Charity. Pretty self-explanatory, just draw a lot of cards. Pot of Greed with 2, Grace with Charity with 3. I just really like these cards. I'm glad I get to use these guys in Go format all the time. And the next card we're going to be running is going to be the one Snatch Steal, so that way you can steal your opponent's monsters. And the next one card that we're going to be playing in this deck is going to be the One Premature Burial. So that way you can get a lot of recovery and bringing back your good monster cards like Exile Force for that spot removal, or BLS in case if it gets killed. That's going to be like a really good card to play in. And then lastly, we're going to be playing the last of our spells. It's going to be the Spell and Trap Destructions, Mystical Space Typhoon, and the One Heavy Storm, just to get rid of your opponent's back there. And that rounds off to our spells, and now to our traps. We're going to be running 3 copies of Jar of Greed. Literally just a free draw card. And what's always funny is that when you set multiple copies of these jars and they activate and waste their one heavy storm, you just flip over all your Jar of Greed, get multiple draws, and you make them waste one of their very powerful spells. And the next 3 of that are going to be running in the deck is going to be the 3 Dust Tornadoes. They're just really good Spell and Trap Destruction. It also helps very well if your opponent is playing Delinquent Duo, so that way you can just pop the spell and set one of your valuable spells and traps in your hand, so that way it doesn't get lost by Delinquent Duo. I just really like this card. Always helps out, especially if they're trying to set their traps on their side on the end phase. That way you get that surprise spell and trap pop. I really like these cards. And then we're going to be playing 2 copies of Compulsive Evacuation Device. I just like that return bouncing, especially since it's not once per turn. I just really like returning their monster's hands, making them waste their normal slot. I just really like this card. And the final trap that we're going to be running in this deck is going to be the 1 Torrential Tribute, just so that way you can clear out your opponent's field of all the monsters, especially if you're in the back foot. I just really like this one card. And that rounds off to our main deck, and now to my personal choices on the side deck. I'm going to be running 3 copies of Kyoko the Ghost Destroyer. It just has like a really good effect that if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. And it has a good floodgate where your opponent cannot banish cards in the graveyard. I just really like this, especially in like Chaos variants, so that way you can punish them by using stuff in the Chaos style and just get rid of their cards in the graveyard that they're really banking on or they're really wanting to bring back. I just really like this card a lot. And the next 3 of that I'm going to be running is going to be in the side deck. It's going to be 3 copies of Smashing Ground just for that spot removal, especially since it's not once per turn. It's really, really good. Especially if like their only cards are like a Jinzo or something, you're guaranteed to kill something very good. And the next 3 of that are going to be running in the side deck is the Royal Decree, just to combat anything that's like a burn damage, anything like burn style, like Seeker Barrel or anything. I just like running these guys just in case if I'm dealing with it, because if so, I just shut down their entire playstyle and I can just swing for game. And the next 3 of that I run in my side deck is going to be the 3 Trap Dust Shoot, just to hand rip your opponent during a draw or standby phase. I just really like this card. It's overall like a good hand ripping tool. And finally, we're going to be playing the 3 Thunder of Ruler, just so we can activate this during the opponent's standby phase, so that way they can't have a battle phase. So that way you can guarantee yourself another turn. In case you're going against something that deals with like a lot of heavy aggro style, like Chaos variants or anything like that, you can at least guarantee yourself 1 more turn. And that is going to round off to the deck profile. I've always loved Go format, as you can do like these cool little fun simple cards. You don't have to worry about any archetypes or anything like that. I just love the really good simplicity of these kind of things. If you guys want to see more deck profiles like this, just hit the like and subscribe. I'm Mighty8, and I'll see you guys next time.